Welcome to a world where your body speaks its own secret language, where signals travel faster than race cars and tiny messages control your every move, even your heartbeat, your emotions and your dreams.
Today, we, Hitvi,
And Nirmal,
are about to take you on a journey through the most fascinating chapters in biology, control and coordination.
from the lightning fast impulses of the nervous system to the silent chemical whispers of hormones in plants and humans, we'll explore how our body thinks, feels, reacts, and stays balanced in a chaotic world.
Get ready to uncover the hidden network that controls everything you do. Whether it's blinking your eyes, dodging a ball, or even feeling fear of excitement.
So buckle up because what you are about to witness is not just biology. It's the silence of intelligence, reaction, and perfect coordination.
Let's begin the journey into the magical world of control and coordination with us.
In this chapter, we'll cover three topics: human nervous system, endocrine system, plants, movements, and hormones.
Human nervous system is basically divided into two equal halves: central nervous system and peripheral nervous system.
The central nervous system is further divided into two parts: brain and spinal cord.
Are you guys aware what do you mean by reflex action? No. Okay, so it is a quick and sudden movement, immediate response to body to a stimulus. For example, knee jerk, withdrawal of hand while you are touching a hot object. Peripheral nervous system consists of three types of nerves: spinal nerves, which arises from the spinal cord and spreads throughout the body; cranial nerves, which arises from the brain and spread all throughout the head; and visceral nerves, which also arises from the spinal cord.
Stimuli, the factors which living being response or change in the environment. Now we'll study receptor and effector. A receptor is a cell or a group of cells in a sense organ which is sensitive to a particular type of stimulus, example nose and ear. An effector is a part of body which can respond to a stimulus according to the instruction sent from the nervous system, whether it can be spinal cord or brain, example glands and muscles. Receptors, these are special tips of some nerve cells that detect information from the environment. These are located in our sense organ. The first receptor is ear. It acts as photoreceptors. It helps in hearing and maintaining the balance of the body. The second one is eyes. It acts as photoreceptors and it helps us in seeing. The third one is nose. It acts as olfactory receptors and it helps in detection of the smell. The fourth one is tongue. It acts as gustatory receptors and it helps in detection of taste. The fifth one is skin. It acts as thermoreceptors and it helps us in feeling hot or cold.
Now let's start with neuron. So it is a structural and functional unit of nervous system. The cells of neuron are highly specialized and it is the longest cell in the human body. There are three main important parts of neuron: dendrite, cell body, axon. Dendrites, they acquire information and receive impulses from the other neurons. Cell body, nucleus, it is the brain of the neuron. Axon, it is the longest fiber. Axon, it is the longest fiber on the cell body.
And here is the synapse which helps in traveling the chemical impulses to electrical impulses to the next neuron. Functions of the neuron. The information or signals from receptors is acquired at the end of the dendritic tip of a nerve cell as chemical reaction that creates an electrical impulse. This impulse travels from the dendrite to the cell body and then at the end of the axon. There is a gap between two neurons called synapse. These chemicals cross the gap and transfer the same signals to the next neuron. Chemicals are released at the end of the axon by the effect of electrical impulse.
Nerve impulse. Nerve impulses are made waves of electrical and chemical signals carried along the nerves or neurons. There are three types of neurons: sensory neurons, motor neurons, and interneurons. Sensory neurons are afferent neurons, motor neurons are efferent neurons, and sensory interneurons are relay or associated neurons. Sensory neurons, they help in transmitting nerve impulse from the receptor to the central nervous system, and motor neurons, they help in transmitting they also help in transmitting the nerve impulse from the central nervous system to a muscle or a gland. And interneurons, they connect sensory neurons and motor neurons.
Now, how do exactly do the signals pass through and between neurons? So, information is collected by the dendrite tip, the chemical reaction sets of electrical impulse. Electrical impulse pass from dendrite to cell body, then passes from cell body to the axon. It reaches the nerve endings at the end of the axon. Electrical impulse sets of signals called neurotransmitted across the synapse. This again passes as electric signals in the next dendrite and so on.
Neuromuscular junction. The neuromuscular junction is a synaptic connection between the terminal end of motor neuron and a muscle.
Now we'll be explaining voluntary actions and involuntary actions. Like I'll be saying one and she so we are going to differentiate it. Okay. So voluntary actions. These actions can be controlled by our own will.
Involuntary actions. These actions cannot be controlled by our own will.
The reflex actions. These actions cannot be controlled by our own will. The second point is involuntary actions, thinking is involved.
In involuntary actions, thinking is not involved.
And similarly, in reflex actions, thinking is not involved. In voluntary actions, the brain is involved. So basically, the brain functions.
Of course, in involuntary actions, brain is also involved.
In reflex actions, spinal cord is involved. So, example of voluntary action is walking, writing, dancing, jumping, etc.
Examples of involuntary actions is contraction and relaxation of blood vessels and pumping of blood.
Example of reflex actions is withdrawal of hand when you touch hand or object. Now we'll come to the brain. So brain is the highest coordinating center in the body. It is located inside the skull. It is protected by a box called cranium. The brain is surrounded by three membranes called meninges. The space between the membrane is filled with cerebrospinal fluid. The fluid protects the brain from mechanical shocks.
There are three regions of brain: forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain.
So let's start with forebrain. It is the largest and most crucial part of the brain. It is responsible for complex cognitive functions and it involves sensory processing and voluntary motor activity. It is the thinking center of the brain. It controls voluntary actions and it also processes sensory information. In forebrain, the forebrain is combined of three parts: cerebrum, thalamus and hypothalamus. So cerebrum, it is the largest part of the brain and occupies 75% of it. It is divided into two equal halves called cerebral hemisphere. It is responsible for reasoning, speech, memory, willpower, etc. So there are four parts of cerebrum. They are frontal lobe, parietal lobe, temporal lobe and occipital lobe. First, the frontal lobe, it controls motor and executive functions. Second, it helps with speech, memory, understanding emotions and voluntary movements. Second, parietal lobe, it helps with perception of stimulus like touch, smell, temperature, taste, orientation and recognition. The third one is temporal lobe, it receives auditory stimulations, and the fourth one is occipital lobe, it receives visual stimulation. Second, thalamus, it is responsible for coordination between sensory and motor signals. Third one is hypothalamus, it is a region in the brain which acts as a control center for maintaining homeostasis. It is located at the base of the thalamus and controls hunger, thirst, sleep, body temperature, etc.
Midbrain. Midbrain is just a connection between forebrain and hindbrain. It is composed of thalamus and hypothalamus. Hypothalamus. It controls the sleep and wake cycle of our body. It also controls the urges for eating and drinking. Hindbrain. It is composed of three parts: cerebellum, medulla oblongata, and pons. Cerebellum. It lies below the cerebrum. Cerebellum, it lies below the cerebrum. It coordinates the motor functions. It also controls the voluntary actions. Medulla oblongata, it forms the brainstem. It controls the involuntary functions like breathing, heart rate, etc. Pons, it regulates respiration and it also controls the involuntary actions.
Now,
Spine. Spinal cord, it is a cylindrical structure. It begins with continuation with medulla oblongata. It is enclosed by a bony case called vertebral column. There are 31 pairs of nerves which arises from the spinal cord, and it is concerned with spinal reflections as well.
so we have questions for you. So the first question is, how are nervous organs protected? How are nervous organs protected?
Yes.
A nervous organ like the brain is placed inside a bony box called cranium, and inside the cranium there are three meninges, and inside the meninges CSF, cerebrospinal fluid is filled. It's a balloon-like structure in which this fluid is filled. This fluid helps in shock absorption.
Second is protection of spinal cord. Like brain, spinal cord is also wrapped in spinal meninges and consists of cerebrospinal fluid. The spinal cord is protected by the vertebral column or backbone. The vertebral column is formed by 33 individual bones called vertebrae.
The next question is, how this process of reflex action takes place in human body?
So we first send stimulus from the receptors in our skin. For example, when we touch a hot object, receptors in our skin sense the heat, and then this stimulus travels to the muscles of our body through the motor neuron, and this message also travels to the brain, to the CNS, to the sensory neuron. And when this reflex impulse reaches the sensory organs or the muscle, it is supposed to be pull our hand back.
Now we'll start with reflex arc. The pathway through which nerve impulses pass during reflex action is called reflex arc. So basically there is a process of how it happens. Like when you touch a hot object, you pull back your hand. So like the heat is as stimulus, the receptors which touch the hot object skin, then spinal organs, and then effector organ muscles, and then respond. Like so the response is sent, and you take back your hand immediately. So response is the final reaction after the reflex action. Now we'll start with glands. A gland is a structure which secretes a specific substance or substances in a body. A gland is made up of root cells or tissue. There are two types of gland in our body. First is endocrine glands and second is exocrine glands. So So first we'll study about exocrine gland. It secretes its product into a duct or tube. For example, the salivary gland secretes the saliva into a duct called salivary gland. Exocrine glands, a group of exocrine glands which produces various hormones are called endocrine glands. The endocrine glands present in the human body are pineal gland, hypothalamus gland, pituitary gland, thyroid gland, parathyroid gland, thymus, pancreas, adrenal gland, testes, and ovaries.
Let's begin with a pituitary gland. Pituitary gland is just present below the brain. The pituitary gland secretes a number of hormones. One of the hormones secreted by pituitary gland is growth hormone, or you can call it as human growth hormone. The growth hormone controls the growth of our human body. For example, growth hormone controls the development of bones and muscles. Now,
the second one is thyroid gland. Thyroid gland is attached to the windpipe in our body. Thyroid gland makes a hormone called thyroxine, which contains iodine. The function of thyroxine hormone is to control the rate of metabolism of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins in the body. So basically, if the iodine content in your body gets less, a disease gets which is goiter. So in this disease, iodine is necessary for the making of thyroxine hormone in the body. The deficiency of iodine in the diet of a person produces less thyroxine hormone and causes a disease known as goiter. The sources of iodine are fish, shellfish, table salts, dairy, like the dairy products like milk, cheese, yogurt, eggs, and chicken.
parathyroid glands. There are 4 small parathyroid glands which are present in the thyroid gland. Parathyroid gland secretes hormone called parrot hormone. The function of parrot hormone is to regulate calcium and phosphate level in your body.
The third one is thymus gland. Thymus gland lies in the lower part of the neck and upper part of the chest. Thymus gland secretes thymus hormone, which plays a role in development of the immune system of the body. Thymus gland is large in young children but shrinks after puberty. The fourth one is pancreas. The pancreas are called dual gland, mixed gland, or endocrine glands. They are called dual gland because they secrete pancreatic juices like lipase, trypsin, etc. So they are also called exocrine glands, and they are also called endocrine glands because they secrete hormones. The pancreas is just below the stomach in the body. Pancreas secretes the hormone called insulin. The function of insulin hormone is to lower the blood sugar level or blood glucose level. So in pancreas there are 2 types of hormones like glucagon and insulin. The glucagon helps to increase the level of blood glucose sugar level in our body, and the insulin helps to decrease the blood sugar level in our body. Diabetes. Now, what is diabetes? Deficiency of insulin and hormone in the body causes a disease called as diabetes. Diabetes is characterized by large quantities of sugar in the blood and eventually the insulin hormone controls the metabolism of sugar. Now let's come to adrenal glands. There are 2 adrenal glands which are located in the top of the kidneys. The adrenal gland secretes adrenaline hormone. The function of adrenaline hormone is to regulate heart rate, breathing rate, blood pressure, and carbohydrate metabolism. Adrenaline hormone is secreted in small amounts at all times but in large amounts when a person is frightened or excited. When adrenaline is secreted in large amounts, it prepares our body for action. It speeds up heartbeat and breathing. raises blood pressure and allows to move glucose, carbohydrate to go into the blood to give us a lot of energy quickly to fight or flight away. Adrenal glands are often called as glands of emergency.
Testes. Testes are the glands that are the only glands which are present in males. Male. Testes make male sex hormones which are called testosterone. Testes also make the male gametes called sperms. Ovaries. Ovaries are the only glands which are present in females. Ovaries make two female sex hormones called estrogen and progesterone. The function of estrogen hormone is to control the development of female sex hormones and female features such as voice, soft skin, and mammary glands.
Now let's proceed towards control and coordination in plants. The plants do not move a nervous system and sense organs like eyes, ears or nose like the animals, but they can still sense things. The plants coordinate their behavior against environmental changes by using hormones. The control and coordination in plants is basically divided into two parts, movements and hormones. So let's compare response to a stimulus in animal and in plant. So in animals, specialized tissue for conduction of information is there. In plants, no specialized tissue for conduction is there. The second one is the change, like in animals, they change shape because of specialized proteins in muscles, and in plants, they change shape because of change in amount of water in their cells. So in plant hormones, there are 4 types of hormones present in plants. They are auxins, gibberellins, cytokinins, and abscisic acid. The first one is auxins. Auxins are the plant hormone which promote enlargement and cell differentiation in plants. Auxins also promote fruit growth. Auxin hormones control a plant's response to light and gravity. Auxin is made by cells attended of stems and roots. Auxin moves away from light and towards gravity. Auxin speeds up growth in stems, but it slows down in roots. Synthetic auxin are applied in agriculture and in horticulture.
The second one is gibberellins. They are necessary in breaking the dormancy in seeds and buds. Dormancy is basically occurred when physical activities are generally stopped. It is a hormone which is involved in mainly shoot extensions. It stimulates elongation of shoots of various types.
The third one is cytokinins. Cytokinins are the plant hormones which promote cell division in plants. Cytokinins also help in breaking the dormancy of seeds and buds. They delay the aging of leaves. Cytokinins promote the opening of stomata. They also promote fruit growth.
Abscisic acid. The fourth one is abscisic acid. Abscisic acid is a plant hormone which functions mainly as a growth inhibitor. It also promotes the closing of stomata.
Now let's move towards types of tropism. So what is tropism? A growth movement of a plant part in response to an external stimulus in which the direction of stimulus determines the direction of response is called tropism. Thus tropism is a directional movement of the part of a plant caused by its growth. If the growth or movement of a plant part is towards the stimulus, it is called a positive tropism. If the growth or movement of a plant part is away from the stimulus, then it is called negative tropism.
Let's begin with phototropism. Can I use the diagram? can see in this diagram, the movement of plant part in response to light, here sunlight, is called phototropism. If the plant moves towards the light, means the vector of light is towards the plant, so it is called a positive phototropism. The next one is geotropism. The movement of plant in response to the gravity is called a geotropism. If the plant moves in the direction of gravity, it is called a positive geotropism. If the plant moves towards the gravity, and if the plant moves against the gravity, it is called a negative geotropism. The third one is chemotropism. The movement of plant in response to chemical stimulus is called chemotropism. If a plant part shows movement towards the chemical, it is called a positive chemotropism, and if a plant shows the movement away from the chemical, then it is called a negative chemotropism.
So, hydrotropism, the movement of a plant part in response to water, is called hydrotropism. So, if the plant part moves towards the water, it is called as positive. It is called as positive hydrotropism, and if the plant and if the plant moves away from the water, it is called negative hydrotropism. So the fifth one is thigmotropism. The directional growth movement of a plant part in response to touch of an object is called as thigmotropism. The climbing parts of the plant, such as these are tendrils that grow towards any support which they happen to touch and build around that support. So tendrils of plants are positive geotrophism, like we show positively geotrophism.
Nasty movement. The movement of a plant part in response to an external stimulus in which direction of response is not determined by tropic movement. It is the unidirectional response to the stimulus.
Gymnastic movement, it is a non-directional movement towards a stimulus.
The growth are dependent on the movements.
And in gymnastic movement, the growth is independent towards its movement.
Topic movements, they are permanent and irreversible.
And the gymnastic movements are temporarily and reversible.
Topic movements, they are found in all parts of the plants.
And in gymnastic movement, it is only found in few specialized plants.
The movement takes place very slowly.
And in gymnastic movement, the action is taken immediately. Now let's come to feedback mechanism. Let's cover it. The excess of deficiency of hormones has a harmful effect in our body. For example, the deficiency of insulin hormone results in a disease called diabetes, whereas excess of insulin in the body can lead to coma. The feedback mechanism, like how it works, the timing and amount of hormones released by various glands are controlled by the feedback mechanism which is inbuilt in our body. For example, if the sugar level in the body rises too much, they are detected by the cells of pancreas which respond by producing and secreting more insulin into the body, and the blood sugar falls to a certain level. The secretion of insulin is reduced automatically. So like sugar level in blood rises, it is detected by the cells of pancreas. Then the synthesis of insulin takes place. After that, blood sugar level falls, and then they stop secreting more insulin. Like it is called feedback mechanism. Thank you.
Why is neuromuscular junction important?
Can you please pardon the question?
Why is neuromuscular junction important in humans? So like neuromuscular junction is important in humans so that the signals get passed quickly.
Because it is a synaptic connection between the end terminal of the motor neuron and the muscle. That's the reason neuromuscular junction is important.
So like we'll be able to detect the hot objects easily.
And malfunctioning of which gland causes dwarfism and gigantism?
What did you ask?
The malfunctioning of which hormones causes dwarfism?
And transmutism.
I guess that pituitary gland.
You people told pituitary gland is a growth hormone. So what will cause?
So
But
there are
it
other
controls
hormones
all the
too.
functions
It
of
also
our-
controls, but you were the one who told one hormone from that is a growth hormone.
Like
You
there
should
are
be
other
thorough
hormones too,
enough with your
like
answer.
FSH, TSH, LH, and prolactin. So that's all.
Done?
Do you want to ask any questions?
Is there any way that plant can change its direction?
So it's there are phototropism and negative tropism. So that's the reason a plant tends towards like if it is needed or it goes against gravity. Like it depends on the movements.
There are 5 types of tropic movements: phototropism, geotropism, chemotropism, thigmotropism, and hydrotropism. So now you explain.
So like positive tropism and negative tropism differ.
What is an experiment to that you can demonstrate hydrotropism? Can you answer a question?
Yes, experiment with us. Can you please ask the question?
Design an experiment to demonstrate hydrotropism.
Okay. So, the movement of plant part in response to water is called hydrotropism. And if the plant part moves towards the water, it is called a negative hydrotropism. And if it moves away from the water, it is called it is called a positive hydrotropism. And if it moves away from the water, it is called a negative hydrotropism. So, this is an experiment. So this is negative hydrotropism because the plant is not towards the water and
Can I know where is the water?
there is no water in your land because this is a
How can I
negative
say? How can I say?
Like there is a water, but the roots of the plant are not reaching towards it. Rather, they are moving. The roots are moving downwards.
And this is positive hydrotropism because the roots are with contact with water, are in contact with water.
So tropism is a part where roots move towards. The movement of roots, not the plants. Am I right? According
The
to this.
movement of plant parts, which are roots which move towards the water. Any more questions?
Does the adrenaline hormone function only in humans or in other animals?
Does which animal?
function only in humans or in other animals as well?
It functions in other animals as well. So, like, I'll give you an example. When a cat sees a tiger coming towards it, so the cat might be in confusion. Should I run or should I fight with the tiger? So of course the cat is going to run from it. Otherwise the lion will